Welcome back, everybody, to Bravo Tea with the Stay at Home Mom. I'm Erika, and I'm ready to get into all the Bravo tea. So, on this episode, I'm doing what I did last time because I kind of liked just cramming all our shows in on one episode because now we got Beverly Hills on Tuesdays, Summerhouse on Wednesdays, and Southern Charm on Thursdays. So, for me, it just kind of makes sense for me to wait, cram them all together, give you a nice long episode to dive deep into. And I'll always try to do it in that order too, just since it makes sense. So if you don't watch one of those shows, you know which one to skip because I'll be going in that order. And then at the end, I'll do a little Bravo tea that's been happening. But let's just dive right into Beverly Hills. So we get Reba creeping in the room while Garcelle, Kyle, and Sutton are talking about her. But at least it was positive talk. But I feel like she purposely creeped in, didn't tell them because she wanted to set them up and be like, I wonder if that Garcelle's going to talk about me or something. But Kyle said normally she's excited to leave a trip to go home to see her family, but she's sad because the house is so empty. So I am just so lost. I have chalked it up to basically that she was very hurt by Maurizio by something. She claims it's not infidelity, so it's just something at this point. That now she's regretting it though, and maybe wishes she just got over it and worked through it because she just does not know how to function in that house without him. And I get what she meant. Like when she said the episode before that he has moved out and it's still sad for him, but he's in a new place. Whereas she is in the house that they all lived in and now she's just there alone because all the daughters have essentially fled the nest. And if they do still live there, Portia lives there, and then the other one, I don't remember if it's Sophia. Yeah, still lives there, but they're all never home because they have lives, and they just gave Portia that Porsche, so she's taking the Porsche to have lunch with the daughters, the sisters, and Kyle's not invited, as they said on episodes ago, because they want to talk about Kyle and Maurizio probably. But Reba said, "I love you" to Sutton, and they all group hug, and this case closed. They can all go home. This is basically what they came down there for. She agreed on the episode prior to come to Sutton's fashion show that I feel like in the preview for the season we saw, that's the fashion show that Kathy is standing in the middle of the runway while someone is modeling. I am happy for Sutton that she got that out of her mom. That's what she needed. Reba's a tough lady, but also she's just a little rude too, which I feel like in the South is very unladylike for Southern ladies. They're supposed to just be polite anyway, but I feel like they can be tough love type of mothers. But she's real tough love on Sutton, but Sutton made a breakthrough with her, so that's good. Bose has her cousin over, and she is just talking to her about wanting to get pregnant with her boyfriend. And even though she's older, she's scared because they haven't even said I love you, which is so weird. But she's more scared about, we learn she did have a pregnancy before her daughter, but it ended very traumatically. She lost the baby. And that's scary. I understand. I feel like even if you're younger than Bose is, if you've gone through a traumatic pregnancy like that, where you end up losing the baby late term, she's scared because now she's even older. So she's probably thinking, I was younger back then. What's going to happen now? She could get a surrogate if that's something she would want to do because she's concerned about her body, housing the baby since she's older. So I don't know. I mean, fast forward till this day, she still does not have a baby. So maybe they kind of just gave up on it. I understand that because her boyfriend doesn't have his own children. So it is different to want your own child. Obviously, he's going to be close with her daughter. But at the end of the day, that's not his child. But I don't know. Sometimes when you meet people later in life and you're both older, it's just okay, that's not going to happen for us because we're just getting older. She's such a worker bee that I feel like she would almost need a surrogate. And then she would need a full-time nanny too, because she is just knees deep into being a business lady. So I also couldn't see her giving that up for her life, but you don't need to. There's obviously ways, and she has the funds to have a full-time nanny. But they're all getting ready for Dorit's 4th of July party. So Sutton is the first to arrive, which is awkward because they're not getting along, but Dorit isn't even there to greet her. And Sutton is like, of course, the polite police. And she's like, I can't believe that I'm down here for like 10 minutes and no one is greeting me, like not even a cockroach. And I'm like, why are you insinuating there's like bugs in her house? But I understand what she means. I couldn't believe like a server didn't walk by. But also, it's like, don't be dramatic. You walk into Reed's house, which is just lovely, by the way, and she has those giant like doors open to the backyard. So it's like if someone isn't standing inside in the foyer, the party is outside. So just walk all the way through the house to where the actual party is, where human life is. And it's not like this is Sutton's first time being at her house. And let's be real, everyone knows you're coming because you're on TV and the cameras are already there, standing there filming you. Sutton just wants to make a problem out of everything. I really do believe that, and especially with Dorit. Dorit is upstairs putting a body chain on, so Sutton should have just found her way to the back. But then Kyle comes in jeans, and she had asked Siri earlier what the weather was going to be, and it said it was going to be like 94. But then this crazy woman, as soon as she steps foot in the house, is like, I don't really like my tan. I'm self-conscious. I needed to get a spray tan. Like, I'm going to put a long sleeve like top on. And I'm like, I'm the type of person that I want to wear like jeans and a cute top in the summer, like if we go out to dinner or something, but I physically can't because I'm so hot. Because I feel like for the past couple of years, it's been getting really hot in Delaware in the summer. And I can't do it. Like, I'm the type that when it's hot, I can't wear pants. So I can't believe Kyle is not only wearing pants, but is now putting a freaking long sleeve top on. I'd rather look pale, and she doesn't even look that pale, than be sweating to death. And I know later she was sweating to death. She was. But Dorit comes down from putting the body chain on. She says hi to Kyle first, and they're chit-chatting because Kyle points out there is like a full-blown shrine of photos of Dorit and PK as soon as you walk in the foyer. And there is, and it's not just photos, it's like 5 of their wedding photos on this like round table that is like as soon as you walk in. So I get if you don't want to completely take all your photos down, because Kyle even said, I haven't done that of me and Mo, but like I don't have these like anniversary and wedding pictures as soon as you walk in the door. It does look like a shrine. Like, and I feel like it's weird. I feel like a large plant needed to be there, or like a tall flower arrangement, and then like 3 frames like around it, like on each side and then in the front. You know what I mean? So I'm like, there was just like 6 picture frames lined up in like a line. Maybe like the kids put it there, which is so sad. But Sutton is being like a freaking pouty toddler saying, oh, I'll just stand here and wait like I have been. It's like, I can't with the coddling. This woman needs so much attention and so much coddling, but then she berates other people for getting that same treatment. Very annoying, which we will talk about a little later that happens in the party. But then she has this mini blue Birkin Kelly bag, because like it wouldn't be a Real Housewives of Beverly Hills episode if her and especially Kyle didn't have Birkins. Like Kyle has a red Birkin for 4th of July. Of course she does, because that woman has a Birkin in every color to match every outfit, every holiday that's happening. And Sutton's outfit was awful, like just to be honest. She wore red Christian Louboutin sneakers, which like they were cute, with like the spikes all over, like a little overkill. I'm not like into the ones that he makes with like the spikes all over. I'm like, no, unless it's like, I think Jennifer Aiden had the black ones with the black spikes, so then you couldn't see them as much. So like that was okay, but still the spikes like literally all over. It's like no. And then she was wearing a white long skirt and then a white matching kind of crop top. And it was just weird. It looked really weird with sneakers. I feel like if she had like a short set on, like keep the top, but make that long skirt shorts, it would have been cuter with the sneakers. I don't know. Sutton just never really like, I really never approve of her fashion choices. And I don't care how much it is, because you could have something on that's $5,000, but if it looks stupid and or is just ugly on you, then it's just that is what it is. But she has the little mini blue Birkin bag. That's the only thing we like about the whole outfit, because then she has this weird crown on. I guess she thinks she's like the Statue of Liberty for 4th of July. I feel like that's the look she was going for. And Dorit said she would forgive anything Sutton has ever said if she just gives her that handbag. And then she gets her claws on it and is like not letting go. And Sutton's like, I don't think so. And Dorit's like, oh, I think so. I think so. Dorit was a little activated, like ready to pounce and pick a fight, I feel, on this episode. But rightfully so, because I feel like no one is giving the woman grace. I feel like she's having a really tough time in her personal life. And of all people, Kyle should understand that. I think Kyle's starting to understand that a little more. But like right at the beginning of the season, I'm shocked Kyle just didn't understand, period, because she went through it. So even if that friend is doing something that's a little annoying or said something a little annoying, if my friend was going through what Dorit is, I would like just not even say anything, because it's like they're going through a tough time. They're just frustrated, and they're not frustrated necessarily with you. They're just frustrated and they're just taking it out on you a little bit. But then Garcelle gets there and she nearly falls going outside. I thought she was going to go face down. She just saw herself in, unlike Sutton needed to be escorted and talked to the whole entire way. But they all are outside and Sutton was drinking like the drink that they made. I guess because I feel like didn't see anybody get drinks. It's like they were in there and then they went outside, but whatever. But Dorit has an amazing spread. She has like snow cones and this like big blow up slide with water on it. So there are some kids there. So there are some people there that aren't on the show. But what you always notice is that they have the ladies specifically sit like away. So they're kind of in her like open like pool house. It's not like a closed in thing, but it's like other people are sticking to where the actual party is and they're kind of off to the side so they can film their BS. Because I feel like there's like probably time allotments too. Like maybe they're like, all right, you're going to Dorit's party. We'll film from this time to this time. And if you don't want to stay for just hanging out purposes of the party, then you can leave and your job is done. But then Dorit can hang out with her actual friends and guests. But Garcelle was like, oh, is there alcohol what you're drinking, Sutton? And then Dorit went, did you really have to ask? It's Sutton. This is when it just shit hit the fan, because Sutton and her, they could say anything to each other at this point and they're going to be mad at each other. But that was pretty mean. But Sutton always flips out and Kyle and Garcelle go after her. But the party has just begun. Like Sutton basically stands up and is like, you know what, Dorit, you're such a bitch. And then Dorit's like, don't call me a bitch in my own home for F's sake. And Sutton's like, I'm just going to leave, like with her bag. She's making sure she's bringing that bag that she could not leave for Dorit. And then Kyle is like, don't leave, because it is dramatic. It's like, first of all, the name of the game on these shows is to poke a little bit at each other and have some drama and have little maybe hurt feelings. But it's like, okay, she said one thing and you're going to get up and leave. And also, I want to know, are you allowed to leave all the time? Like, can Sutton just always get up and leave when she wants? Or is it like, no, Sutton, you need to stay here for like an hour and do your job. We're paying you and filming you. You can't just leave because she said one thing. So I don't know. But Kyle and Garcelle go after her, asking her not to leave the party. Then Bose arrives, which thank God. And she brings like an artillery. She brings the assistant. She brings a couple other people. And Dorit's like, oh, thank God you're here. Because it's like her only friend. And Sutton's tearing up with Kyle and Garcelle because she is just still not over Dorit making that comment about her putting vodka in her coffee, which was like, what, like 2 years ago? But I mean, honestly, she probably does. Because in the episode before this, when they're all hanging out in Georgia, we're seeing Reba like always sneaking behind the camera when they're like talking, and we're really not focusing on Reba, but I'm always focusing on the people in the background doing random shit. She's getting the vodka, continuously filling up her cup. And sadly, we learned that Sutton's, we already knew this, but she dove deep more into it on their trip, that her father was a raging alcoholic and battled depression. I really do feel Sutton has some alcoholic tendencies, or maybe she's not an alcoholic, but I think she drinks every day. I don't think she like rolls out of bed and has vodka, or like she's just being totally irresponsible. Like obviously she is a responsible woman, mother, business person. Like she gets up and puts herself together on a daily basis. But you can be a functioning alcoholic, or it's just maybe not even being an alcoholic. Like I said, maybe just she drinks every day, which I do think she does. Also, that's just a different life out there. But I think she needs to get over that comment because she has said just as bad stuff to all these women, honestly. And I would be crying too if I was wearing the strange outfit that she wore, to be honest, like with the crayon. And then she's like throwing the crayon and she's just having a toddler tantrum. And she said she was trying to be nice by having that nasty ass watermelon drink, but she would rather have something else. And I'm like, what would you rather have? Your nasty ass ocean spray grapefruit juice that isn't even fresh? I would love to have a fresh squeezed watermelon juice and vodka. Actually, I make a delicious watermelon margarita. So I basically, I just get the watermelon, I cut it up, I put it in my juicer and just mix it with tequila, lime juice. It's very tasty. And I muddle jalapenos in it. So it's like a spicy watermelon margarita. In the summertime when I make it, I'll make a little video and I'll post the recipe because it's very tasty. But yeah, I feel like Sutton at this point is just making some wild accusation up that drink is nasty because I'm sure it's delicious because it's fresh. And Garcelle's like, oh, well, I'll go have another nasty watermelon drink. It's like, yeah, I'm sure you will because I'm sure it's delicious. But also the ironic part about Kyle and Garcelle coddling Sutton a little bit and begging her to stay is Sutton nailed Kyle to the cross for wanting to leave Beau's spa party. And Kyle had been at the party for a decent amount of time. It's not like everyone had just arrived and she's like, I'm leaving. And I feel her thing was worse. Like they were basically accusing her of like flirting with PK over text messages and lying about it. So that was definitely worse. This is just like a little nasty comment, but Sutton has made nasty comments to all these women, including Dorit. Then Erika arrives and said she just wants to have her once a year hot dog. Amen. Everyone needs a hot dog on the 4th of July. It's just like an American tradition. But Beau said, why don't we just go into the party because everyone is congregating at the door? Because now Erika has just like, she's just arrived, but she's like automatically being sucked in because this like pity party is just gathering in the foyer and you have to go to the foyer before you go to the party. And I feel like Beau is just feeling bad that Dorit put all this money, time, and effort into this backyard party and everyone's like sitting inside way far away from the party and not enjoying the party because Sutton wants to be a crybaby. And Sutton was like just basically thinking Beau's is crazy. And then Garcelle's like, you don't need to be her mouthpiece, even though it's okay for Garcelle to be Sutton's mouthpiece at all. And I'm just shocked that Kyle is sitting with Sutton since she did berate her for leaving Beau's house and has just always, she just has like a double standard. And then Kyle said that in her confessional. She's like, Sutton has rules, but usually they don't apply to her. And it's like, okay, well then why are you sitting there? Like, I get you're like maybe trying to help, but this is what I would have done. Maybe followed her in right away. But then when she's like really not budging and not calming down and still wants to like leave and like accuses the drinks of being nasty, I'd be like, then I'm gonna like go back outside because I don't want to deal with your like toddler tantrum situation. So I don't get it. There's just so much double standard. I don't know why Garcelle had to say that to Beau's. It's like Beau's was just saying, the party's back here. We should all go outside. Like if Sutton wants to cry and leave, let her do that. Don't ruin your time or ruin the whole party because everyone is now inside. But Beau's goes outside and says that everyone needs to stop coddling that woman. And I love Beau's. I love Beau's for it. Kathy arrives in what looks like a 70s knitted blanket that you would find at your grandma's house, like on the couch. Ugly pattern. It's not made of that material, but it was like that pattern kind of looking. Pretty color, but like just that weird, ugly pattern of knit. And I was like, ew. Sutton leaves, so it's like, goodbye. Goodbye, Sutton. Garcelle just always seems to be like up Sutton's butt, but then accuse other people of doing that. I'm just confused by that. But at least Garcelle comes back in. So everyone stays except Sutton. So bye-bye. Beau's and Kyle are just kind of talking about when they were away and Beau's was at Kathy's and they had dinner and she was just kind of talking about how she felt like Kyle was cold. And Kyle said, that hurt my feelings. I feel like we have connected. But Bose said that she feels she's had deep conversations with everyone but Kyle. And I don't know. I mean, maybe it could also because Bose has gotten so close with Dorit that Kyle like didn't want to get close with Bose. But also she feels like she has shared with everyone. I feel like Kyle thinks she's sharing a lot. And I mean, yes, telling us you're separated, which is like obvious, is a lot. But like the fact that you didn't give us much detail at all about Morgan Wade last year, and it like clearly appeared that you were together and or possibly still together on the DL, is why people are like, you're not giving us anything. But yet she thinks she's giving us so much. I don't know. But I don't get that from Kyle that she has gotten close with Bose. So I'm on Bose's side for that. And Erika said she has stamina, but she can't last much longer with these bitches. And she's just trying to have her once a year hot dog. But then Kyle kind of goes like on a tangent saying that Bose is like Dorit is so up Bose's ass because Dorit says, I feel like you haven't shared a lot with me either. And she's like, you're just like so far up her ass, it's gross. But if we remember, people used to say that about Kyle and Teddy. Like Kyle was the OG and Teddy came on the show and clung and was like lodged up Kyle's ass. And honestly, she still pretty much is these days. And don't mean to talk bad about Teddy right now since she is in the hospital, sending prayers still for her to get better. But they had like a close, weird relationship sometimes with the other ladies that they were all like, it's so weird you're so close. But I don't think it's weird to be close to people. But I do think it's weird to be like blind loyalty to people. Because if they're wrong, they're wrong. And you got to tell them. And I don't think Teddy would ever look at Kyle and say she's wrong. And maybe Bose would never look at Dorit and say Dorit's wrong. But I think it's just nice that Bose is around for Dorit, to be honest, since no one else really is. But Dorit is poking a little bit. She's just is on edge at this party. But Dorit said to Kyle, are we starting from scratch or no? And Kyle said yes. And they kind of hug it out and go inside because, as I said and predicted, Kyle has decided to dress like it's 70 degrees instead of 94 degrees. I bet she definitely has sweaty, like swamp ass. And she's like fanning herself with this fan. And then they go upstairs. And Dorit said that she's just all over the place. And she really is. Mentally, but physically in the organization in her room. She has clothes and accessories like all over the place. And Kyle said she really knows that she's going through a tough time because she usually would never have her stuff all over the place like this. And she has like OCD with that. But Dorit is asking Kyle how she's doing and if she was like sad that Maurizio has like moved out and that just kind of like picking her brain of like, what am I in for? Because they said they were going to do like a 6-month separation thing and then go from there. Well, she said she did get sad because instead of Maurizio maybe staging the condo or renting furniture, he bought it. But also that's like not that weird. I mean, they have a lot of money. Like maybe he would like, let's say tomorrow he moved back in the house. Maybe he would keep that condo and rent it out. I mean, not weird that he bought the furniture, but I get like Kyle means it's just more permanent. But I feel like it's also so expensive to rent and weird to rent furniture. Like, were you going to rent the couch for 6 months? You might as well freaking buy it. I mean, but Dorit asked if Kyle wants to get back together with Maurizio. And I feel like she just never wants to say yes, but she never wants to say no. So she always has that like political answer. She's just like, for right now, I'm just like taking time. And it's like, okay, but also you're saying all the time you're sad that your house is empty. So do you want him back or not? But then Dorit doesn't really know how she feels. But it's really nice to see Dorit and Kyle kind of reconnect and bond over this, even though it's like a sad time they're going through. But it is bringing them closer together. And I swear, sometimes when these women separate themselves from others in the group during like a group outing like this, they can have conversations like this and be close and friends again. Like downstairs, everyone was riling everyone up to fight. but pull them away, and Kyle and Dorit are like back to where they used to be. I think really what happened, in my opinion, and if I was Dorit, when Kyle went on that Amazon Live, even though that was after Dorit kind of said some stuff at the reunion, Kyle went on that Amazon Live and said she really was not close with Dorit. That hurt Dorit's feelings so much. And she looked back and reflected on all the time they had. And it's like, oh, okay, we weren't friends. Like, yeah, you were, Kyle. So I don't even know why you would say that. She literally just said that to hurt Dorit's feelings because I don't find that true at all. But Dorit says, why aren't we living it up like PK and Maurizio are? And I feel like Kyle just doesn't want to do that. Like, people take separations differently. And especially Kyle did say she wanted this. So what is Maurizio supposed to do? Like, sit at the door every day and wait for Kyle to like invite him to move back in? I feel like at first he was like really sad and would maybe want to do that. But then fast forward to like now, I don't think he wants that at all. And that's why I think she's really upset, because she's like, I freaking blew it. So then they go to like a black screen and they do 1 week later. And it's when Maurizio was spotted in the airport in Greece with that model who's like 20. It's like he can't even take her out to legally drink in the United States. Wild. I mean, that's one of his children that he's dating. And he has children that are older than that. I mean, that's just insane. But I feel like that was game over. Like, once Kyle saw that, because they show her kind of talking to Erika, and she's like, well, how do you feel, or what are you going to do? And Kyle's like, I didn't know that was going to happen. I'm at a loss for words. Probably because Kyle was more on the end of let's get back together. And then she sees that and it's like, okay, now I definitely can't get back together with you. Because once the other person or somebody honestly goes on like a date or finds someone, do you really still want to get back together with them? And clearly they don't maybe want to get back together with you. So I just think Kyle maybe does like seriously regret it a lot. And who knows what's happening, because she'll never tell us she's with Morgan Wade. But if you want to be together, you can't hide forever. So let's take a little break and then we will recap Summerhouse. Need a last minute gift? Look no further than Acred Creative. Discover personalized gifts, distinctive decor, and must-have business essentials. Elevate your space or amplify your brand with their unique creations. Go to acredcreative.com and use my code BRAVOT10 to receive 10% off your order. That's ACRED creative.com and use my code BRAVOT10. And we're back and we're picking it up with Carl entering the house. So he came a day late because he thought that would be better, but it's almost like worse because now it's like everyone's already said hello and mingled with everyone. And now you're coming in and everyone has to say hello to you. Obviously, he doesn't say hello to Lizzie, so it's a little awkward. And she's just floating around in the pool. But she says she doesn't really care. And Carl's feelings are not her problem anymore. So one thing I can agree with is, I'm not saying Carl can't be upset, because obviously he did love Lindsay and they were friends first and foremost before they were ever even engaged. But he is the one that broke it off with Lindsay. So I feel like, yeah, he can't come in the house and be like crying this summer. It's like, if anyone to, it would have been Lindsay, but she's pregnant. So I guess she's moved on quite quickly. But Carl said to Kyle, he wants to say hi, but he doesn't want to have her like explode, kind of. And he's like, I'll find the right moment. And it's like everyone was watching and it's like, I get it. I get it. All the boys leave to go out though. They're going to go like to a little outside like bar, and they all are talking about Carl not saying hi in the car. And then West says, well, Ciara swatted my arm away. So I guess you're doing the same. It's like, I feel like Ciara and West, it's like more awkward and uncomfortable and hostile for them. And Carl and Lindsay were literally going to get married, and now she's pregnant with another guy. But West is far worse, I feel like, than Carl. It is kind of crazy, but also like understandable. West, you're awful. But Paige and Amanda are then chit-chatting. and saying Lindsay being pregnant gives them anxiety at where they are in life. And Amanda's like, I mean, like, should I be pregnant? And then Paige is like, should I like get my taxes in order? And then she's like, should I move to Charleston? So then Paige does the little confessional timeline and she says, let's see, Craig and I started dating. Then Lindsay and Carl started dating. Then they got engaged. Then they planned a wedding. Then they called off a wedding. Then Lindsay met a guy. Now she's pregnant. She's like, and I'm still just dating Craig, which is funny. But I feel like she's just, moving at her own pace. And obviously, it's just so awkward and strange to watch all these things now because Paige and Craig are no longer together. But she has changed her mind on some things, which I'll talk about more at the end because she gets more into that. But I understand and I get it. And I feel like maybe even Amanda's thinking, oh, Kyle and I were married first and we've been together way longer. Like, should I have a baby? But it's like Amanda's also younger than Lindsay. And this is just what Lindsay wants. So it's okay if you aren't doing that. And they have time. I feel like when you live in New York, it's different. That's why Paige and Craig were never going to work ultimately in my brain because Charleston is very much like settle down, have a family at their age. But in New York, it's like women could be still working and childless at 40. And then maybe that's when they start their journey. And that's totally fine. It's just different areas, but that's why it's like, well, Paige, it was never going to work. We all knew that. Jesse is just like so into this new girl, Lexi, though. So he's like talking to the guys at their outing about it. And he's like, yeah, when I like introduced her to Carl, like, I feel like no one noticed, but I was low key like, Carl, meet the love of my life. It's so weird how much he's throwing himself at her because he was so into Paige last summer, even though she was a taken woman. I feel like you're leaning in so hard to this girl. The summer has just started and they all have parties where like guests come. Like, what if when you have the 4th of July party tomorrow, a guest that you like more comes, but you've already clawed your nails into Lexi? So it's very interesting because like I've said before, usually you see it opposite. It's like women can be the stereotypical, like more desperate, throwing themselves at someone. So it's just interesting to kind of see Jesse do this. But West and Kyle are like, oh my God. And then they're like in the car on the way back. And they're like, do you even have her phone number? And he's like, no, but I'm going to get it right now. And he's like Instagram messaging her. And then she FaceTimed him real quick. And then they're all just like laughing at the absurdity of this. It's like stage 5 clinger. But they come back to the house and then he has a pretty intense convo with her. So we're getting to know her a little deeper. She has some initials like tattooed on her neck, apparently. And I'm like, where is that? And she said it's one of her best friends that passed away just last year. And I feel like I was waiting to hear a girl's name. And then she said a guy. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's not what I was like expecting. And then all the flashback pictures they show of her and this guy that are like quote unquote best friends, they're like kissing in every picture. They're like all close, like their faces together. And then she's doing, when like the guy comes behind like the girl and you take like a selfie and you like kind of lean your face and you're like kissing their cheek, like, but it's like fake. Like those were all the pictures they showed. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure this was like a boyfriend or like your friend that you like hooked up with probably. But Jesse was very like chill. I feel like he was kind of drunk having this conversation. And then that leaned into him being able to talk about the cancer he went through. So I feel like he's like, all right, we're having some serious talk. We're getting progress. They had like an aggressive hug when he first came in the room. And I feel like if they would have hugged a little tighter, her top would have fallen off because it's like a cute little terry cloth 2-piece almost, but like very short. Like my husband was like, her ass is basically out. I mean, honestly, this show, the asses are out. All the bathing suits, like just thongs, literal thongs. And I was like, okay, this is, I guess, what we're wearing now. I can't do that, but power to these ladies. And Lexi does have a great body. She totally is giving me Lala vibes, though. I know I said that before, but definitely the more and more we see her pictures, like how she poses, her lips, like kind of the way she does her makeup, her wardrobe, definitely giving me Lala vibes. But seems very sweet and not like hot-headed. So Old Lala was like buck wild when she would drink and like want to punch people in the face, pop off on them. But Carl and Lindsay finally do break the ice and talk. And Carl is preparing like tomahawk steaks for everyone. I'm like, those look divine. And Kyle is like kind of in the background, like eavesdropping, and he's like snapping like at Carl, and he's like pointing, like meaning like it's just the three of us right now in the kitchen. Like maybe take this time to like say something to Lindsay. And then Carl's like, Lindsay. And she's like, he's like, hi. And then she's like, hi, Carl. And then he's like, I just wanted to say congratulations. And she's like, well, thank you. She's like, I told you I would be pregnant when we had that conversation on the basketball court last year. And then they flash back to it, which I talked about already. And it is true. She was right. She would be pregnant. It's just not with you, Carl. It's with somebody else. But at least they got that out of the way. And then the giant steaks are being cooked. And this dinner looks divine. We got like shrimp skewers. I got like salad. A nice little family dinner. I feel like they used to do this a lot on Jersey Shore. They always used to have the family dinner, and they do it on Summerhouse, and I like that. A little camaraderie. And it's just awkward because we got Carl and Lindsay, still a little awkward. And then West and Ciara are sitting directly across from each other at the table. And Paige is like, I just want to say it's great. We can all like sit here and be mature. And then she's like, even though Wes and Ciara can't even make eye contact and look at each other, she was digging right in. And then Ciara just goes in and grills West right at the table, just like those steaks that they're eating. Kyle said, oh, do you like his new hair? Which I feel like the hair is the same. And Ciara's like, no, it's stupid. She's like, but I don't care. And then she was just like, you had a lot to say to the New York Times, but didn't really say anything to me. And then she's like, I just wish you could have the common courtesy to say it. Then he's like, maybe we could have a talk. And she's like, oh, like in private. And then she's like, well, and then Kyle's like, I really want to hear it. And then Amanda's like, Kyle. And then he's like, what? I'm sorry. And then he's like, honestly, everyone's probably going to hear it in the house anyway. And it is true. And you know why I feel like Kyle also said that? It's like, West, you don't get to have like private conversations and like maybe think the camera won't be there either. Like, and you might as well say it to everyone because you know what's going to happen. You're going to say it to Ciara. Ciara's going to report it to Paige, and maybe like a whisper down the lane thing will happen, and she'll skew your words of something. So sometimes maybe it's just better to air it out at the dinner table. And you had no problem doing that to the New York Times. So he basically was like flapping his mouth to the New York Times when Ciara was on Traders. And he said that they were just never a compatible pair, or they were never meant to be. Why would you ever get with her then if you thought that? He was like stage 5 clinger obsessed with Ciara last year. Like he is what Jesse is right now to Lexi. So I'm like, I don't know. I think it's strange that he's still, even at the dinner table, is barely saying anything. It's like, what's wrong with you? But Paige said, I think this is worse. Like Lindsay and Carl were engaged last year and now she's pregnant, and she thanked Carl for the steak, but you and Ciara are like more mad at each other. And then Lindsay was like, yeah, I now have to poop because I've been constipated. And then everyone's like laughing. I feel that was like a really good icebreaker because it got a little awkward with Ciara and West, but I'm glad Ciara got it off her chest. I'm team Ciara on that. And I honestly would handle it like Ciara did. I would be like, you're dead to me. I'm going to be real rude to you. I'm going to hit it where it hurts. I'm going to say your hair's ugly and you're stupid. Good. Hats off to you. And Lindsay saying she had to poop because she was constipated. Even better to break the awkwardness between her and Carl. Then they all go out. The girls come back and they get in like their pajamas and they're going to like make some food. It's so funny that like, I feel like they eat dinner late. They ate a big dinner, but then they come home and they're like, oh my God, we're starving to death. Like, let's make like chicken nuggets and taquitos. Also, they are all in such good shape for this like junk food that they eat late. I mean, I guess maybe it's just when they're in the house on the weekend, but still, I'm like, good for you people. But Ciara said to Paige when they get in the room, she's like, I can only say this to you because only you would understand. But like, at the dinner table, it's like, I just cursed you out, but like, let's make out. And Paige is like, no, I totally understand. So Ciara is like, meaning like, she's just getting so mad and frustrated with West. But then it's like at the end of the day, she almost like still likes him, which I can tell that that's why she's mad, because I feel like you don't get this passionate and this mad if you don't care about the person. It's like Lindsay. She doesn't care that she's seeing Carl. She's over it. Like, maybe it's because she's pregnant. Maybe it's just because she really is over it because he hurt her a lot. But Lindsay doesn't care at all that Carl's there. I feel like Carl cares more that Lindsay's there. But I feel so bad for Ciara because I feel like she waited all summer last year. She did not sleep with Wes, jumped the gun. She waited, and I guess they did that in the fall when the cameras went down to like see, if he still liked her. Then he still ended up hurting her. So that's really sad. I think I really feel bad for him. But Lindsay, the next day, she said she is not staying for the 4th of July party. Carl is like a sigh of relief because he's ready to like mingle with some ladies. Even though I feel like it's going to be so interesting seeing Carl and awkward hit on girls, because I feel like he's a little awkward type of person. And now that he doesn't have like any alcohol to like loosen him up, it has to be really awkward. And it's like, does he want to find someone that drinks? Does he care if they drink? And you got to find out right away if they're like a big drinker. Because I feel like I could see Carl being with someone that does drink, but like how like Paige drinks. Like Paige doesn't really drink. So like I could see Carl with someone like that. I think Lindsay drank too much for Carl, or it's like the type of person she turns into when she drinks. But West and Ciara have a little private talk, and he actually ended up apologizing to her, even though we're all still mad at him and we all still think he sucks and his hair is ugly. But he apologized. I feel bad because I think Ciara still does have feelings for him. I'm wondering if he's going to like try to hook up with people like at these parties and stuff. Like that's going to hurt too. I saw like a weird like preview in the trailer that like it looked like Ciara and Jesse were like flirting. And you know what? Jesse and West are boys, but you know what, West? You're the one that did Ciara dirty. Like maybe Ciara should have went for Jesse off the bat last summer. Maybe she'd be pregnant along with Lindsay too. But in the preview, I also found interesting. Lexi says to Jesse, oh, this is just us like getting to know each other, right? Like nothing further. He's probably devastated and heartbroken. Maybe that's why he like maybe flirts with Ciara to get back at Lexi. But I think Lexi was sending strong signals. Like Jesse's being just totally laying it out there and like desperate. But Lexi's sending strong signals too. I mean, like when they came back before they had that like in-depth talk about her friend passing away and his cancer, she like hugged him. So like she like jumped on him and she's basically wearing nothing. And they kind of like kissed before dinner. Like after they had that deep convo, they were like laying in the bed and they like kind of like kissed. So it's like, okay, you're going to do that. But then at this 4th of July party, be like, we're just like getting to know each other, right? I don't want anything more than that. It's like, well, then why'd you do that? But maybe I see where she's coming from. She's probably like, listen, this is like my first time being on this TV show, being in this house. I'm 26. I dress like a stripper. I want some male attention besides you. And it's awkward to hook up with people in the house because look what happens. Like, look at Carl and Lindsay. Gabby said on this episode, she's shocked that both of them are even here. She's like, I don't know why Lindsay and Carl are even here. She's like, I definitely don't know why Lindsay's here, probably because she's pregnant. But she's like, I don't know why Carl's here either. I would have just taken a breather. I get it. I feel like neither of them wanted to leave, though. This is a big source of income for them. And why should one leave over the other? Like, if anyone should have, I guess, left, we would say Carl because he broke up with Lindsay. But then it's like you could say, well, why is Lindsay there? Because she's pregnant. But then that's like singling a lady out. And I feel like she's still going to be fun. I listened to all of Carl's interview on the Vial Files. He actually said that Lindsay was like really fun this summer. And people were like, oh, Lindsay should be pregnant more often. It's probably because she didn't have the alcohol, but also because I guess she's not with Carl and she's just happy. I think it was inevitable they were going to break up. And I think now she's like fine with it, but they would have been miserable. Like, as we saw, they like fought all last summer. I can't wait to see Kyle and Amanda this summer because Kyle thinks he's Diplo, as Paige says, and he's going to be DJing all over. He's already using the microphone. He's like calling people to dinner like it's like a wedding reception. He's like, please report downstairs. Dinner is served. Like, what? What are you doing? I just think it's so funny that he's always like, I have no time for anything and all I do is work. And Amanda, you can't do anything else but Loverboy. And then he's like traveling, doing DJing stuff. Thank God, though, that Amanda's bathing suit line just released. Was it yesterday or 2 days ago? It's at South Moon and Under. It looks so cute. Her body looks amazing in all the photo shoots for it, but I can't wait to look into the bathing suits and get some of the bathing suits. That's going to be fun. So let's take another break and then we're going to recap Southern Charm and then we'll wrap it up with some Bravo tea. Do you ever struggle finding unique gifts for kids that will be excited about? Look no further. Ellie and Mila Boutique has everything from custom jean jackets, backpacks, sneakers, and more. Go to ellieandmila.com. That's ELLIEANDMILA.com to use my code BRAVOT10 to receive 10% off your order. I know my daughters have the jean jackets and the fanny packs from there. I'm going to get them backpacks, and I just got them sneakers. They are so cute. They kind of look like Golden Goose sneakers. Everything is just so unique. So get them for your own kids or for gifts, friends, baby showers, anything. Everything is perfect. So that's ellieandmila.com and use my code BRAVOT10. And we're back. And to wrap it up, we're going to do Southern Charm and then a little Bravo tea at the end. So we got Molly having a migraine because she said she had like 12 glasses of champagne. And I'm like, girl, that would give me a migraine too. But Vanita said, if you're hanging out with Madison, that's all she drinks, which is interesting. But I definitely couldn't have that much. I feel like it would give me a headache or it would just make me like feel too bloated. I don't know. It's like when White Claw came out. They were like great at first. And then like when you have too many, you're like, oh my God, all that carbonation. I can't. So I found others that are like way less carbonated. So there's this one brand that's called Unda and it's tequila. They're a little expensive, but they're way less carbonated. They're so good. Like you can drink more of them. I've said before, I'm not a huge fan of Loverboy because the flavors are weird, but they're not that carbonated. But yeah, I couldn't do all the bubbles. But so Vanita does arrive, and I don't understand why no one can get their shit together and like arrive on time. Vanita said JT missed that flight. So Vanita, Whitney, and Ryan arrive. So I feel like this is the first time we've had Ryan come on a trip. And I just got to say, Whitney looks awful. Like even my husband was like, what's wrong with his face? I was like, nobody knows, but that's why we can't believe he had the nerve to talk about Molly eating that cupcake. It's like, have you looked in the mirror in your home? I definitely think he had some plastic surgery of some sorts done. I don't really know what, like perhaps a facelift, but he doesn't look that great. So I feel like we didn't really see him on this episode though. It is kind of just strange that he comes on these trips. It would be like having Lisa Vanderpump going on all those trips with the Vanderpump Rules people. Like, I know Whitney is their friend, but at the end of the day, he is an executive producer of the show. So it's just kind of strange. But yeah, Vanita came late because she lost her passport. JT's still not there, but no one really cares about JT not being there. But Shep has the most awkward talk with Cienna. So he comes down the stairs and he has finally changed his outfit. And she didn't even want to stay in the room with him when he was going to change his shirt. Like the repulsiveness of him, she's just like, I got to get the heck out of here. I don't want to see you take your shirt off. I mean, I am just flabbergasted with why she's even wasting her time with him. It's like, I don't really think she's doing it because she wants to be on TV, because she's also really not acting like she cares that she's on TV. She honestly seems half asleep talking to Shep. I don't know if she's sleepy or if she's on something. Like literally, she was like talking like slow. I mean, I don't want to throw it out there and start any rumors, but it's like reminded me of like when people are on painkillers or something. Like she just was not with it, kind of. I don't know. And also, it's because I feel like she doesn't want to be there and talk to Shep, but she was talking like really slow and seemed like she was half asleep. But he said he's wildly attracted to her and that he is in love with her. And she barely like said anything. And she's like, "No, I didn't know that you felt that way." And it's like, oh my God. Like the guys all pieced out of the room too because they couldn't even stand and bear the thought of watching Shep and her interact anymore. Like I watched the after show and Craig said he had to make up like a lie to just get out of that room. Like he's like, "Oh, I need to go check on our dinner reservation and like leave." It's like, excuse me, you could pick up the phone and do that, but Craigie had to like get out of there. He's just like, "No, I can't stand and bear this." And I think it's strange. Like, I don't know if before this she was giving different type of signals and vibes to Shep, because if she was always like this, Shep is literally blind and deaf. If he can't see that she doesn't like him, it's that movie. She's just not that into you. But then they all go to dinner and Austen and Shep kind of go away to have like a chit chat about all this because Austen is trying to be as nice as he can, but also wants to be a friend to Shep and be like, I don't think this is working. Like Craig is being a little like cutthroat, but also it's because, hello, like, do you want to embarrass yourself anymore? I don't know. But then Madison is grilling Cienna a little bit at the table. So she said, "Oh, so like, are you and Shep together?" And then, of course, it like pans to a commercial because it's like, bum, 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 bum. And then it's like a commercial. And she says that they never had that talk about being together or being exclusive. Well, we know Taylor is loving every second of this, and Madison is too, because then it shows flashbacks of when Shep used to hammer Madison about her and Austen being together. And he's like, "He's so miserable all the time and it's because of you," and blah, blah, blah. And like just saying all this stuff. And he's like, "You guys need to not be together." And then it even showed a scene of him talking to Austen about it. And it's like, fast forward to now, it's like, hello, she doesn't like you at all. Couldn't even pick you up from the airport, barely has been hanging out with you. And what they pointed out on the after show too, like Madison and Craig were paired up and they were chit-chatting. She didn't even spend the night, one night at this hotel with them. I mean, you haven't seen each other in almost 2 months. Wouldn't you just stay the whole time? Like, what are you doing at home? I feel like she acts like she's so busy, but I don't really think she's busy. Not that I know her that well, but I feel like she's using any excuse in the book to get away from Shep. But then it's like, well, why are you even with Shep anyway? Like leading him on. Because as we know, she's telling Madison, like, "Oh, I'm not with him." So then they all kind of disperse from dinner and they want to hang out longer, which obviously makes sense. But instead of her wanting to hang out with Shep, she says, "I have a stomach ache and I have to leave." No, you don't. She was conjuring up this stomach ache the minute she came to that hotel room and saw him wearing a shirt she didn't like. I mean, Madison's a little tipsy at this point. So they're all in the girls' room. And she's like, "Shep, she doesn't like you." It's like, "Thank you, Madison." And then he gets like upset, you can tell. I mean, he doesn't like yell or anything at Madison. He's like, "All right, I'm going to go to bed." And it's like, how do you not see that she doesn't like you, though? And then the next day they all wake up and I love like the disarray of the rooms. It's like half empty bottles of Coors Light. There's like a random shoe propped up on like a end table and eating food all over. Shep is like up and at him at like 7:30, 8 a.m., exercising in the room. And I can't believe that. That was like pretty crazy. And then Taylor got up, like opened the blinds at 8 a.m. She's already dressed for flamingo yoga, which is so cute. But I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe that they're all like up. Like they looked like they drank a lot. And I don't know, you just like don't really have to wake up. Austen would be me on this vacation. He is like still sleeping, hugging a pillow. Shep comes, lays on top of him. And Austen's like, "Why are you doing this to me?" He's like, "I don't know why you're awake. Like we're on vacation." So then Shep is sharing with him that he sent the most desperate, sad text message to Cienna, and she has not answered yet. So I actually recorded it, so I'm just going to play it because it was so long. I obviously couldn't write it down, but so I'll just play when Shep is reading it to Austen.
Good morning, Cienna. Listen, I love seeing you, and no one else makes me feel the way you do. No one. But I'm not going to try to convince someone that they love me for 3 days, especially when I know that deep down they do. Here's hoping that you understand my feelings and exalt them. I just don't feel this way almost ever. I know that you agree and feel a lot of what I do because I've heard it from your perfect little freckled lips. And those around us can say and think what they will, but we will have the last laugh. And we'll have love, laughter, and literally everything that matters. Okay, my TED Talk is in order. Oh, God, Shep.
So Austen's laying there all hungover, and he's just like, oh my God, I really wish you consulted me before you sent this. And what always makes these shows even funnier, it's so sad him reading that text message, so cringe, so desperate, but it's the sound effects. It's dun, and then it pans to Austen, his eyes get wide open, oh my God, it's like a cartoon. I love the little sound effects, but I mean, I just don't get it. I mean, if the night before wasn't a clue enough, now you're sending this, and then she never even answered. Oh my God. It's the whole day went by and he didn't answer. It's just wild. So Molly, Taylor, and Rodrigo go to Flamingo Yoga. That was cute. The Flamingo was literally doing the yoga moves with them. It was very cute. Sally, Vanita, and Madison go to the beach. And Vanita, this is when she says that JT missed his flight. And Madison's like, okay, good. Don't care. Hopefully he won't come. I just don't get why no one could get on this plane and get to this free trip. It's just so weird. But then Shep is telling the guys that they can go hang out with Cienna without him because at dinner, I guess the night prior, she was telling the group that she would come with them to this fish fry thing, but not go with Shep. I'm like, what? Why would you think these people want to hang out with you? They are so flabbergasted by this whole entire situation. I mean, no one was going to reject this trip to the Bahamas, but I'm sure no one thought it was going to be this magical romantic trip where they are all witnessing Shep and Cienna just be madly in love with each other. They're just okay, if you get your heart broken, I don't care. We're still in the Bahamas. So Craig is I am not hanging out with her without you. Just come. Or I don't know. He's being a little harsh, but I understand. In the after show, he's am I supposed to lie to my friend? It's no, I'm going to say she doesn't like you. And it's yeah, Madison did the night before as well. And then she actually does call him. But this is the first he's heard of her, from her, after that long, sad text message. And she's almost acting like the long text message didn't happen. Do you guys ever get nervous too that you send something and the person didn't get it because they haven't answered? And you're like, oh my God, did they not get it? And it's you don't want to if it's something a little hostile or desperate like this, you don't want to be hi, I'm just making sure you got it. Because then what if they answer you and be like, yeah, I got it? It's okay, never mind. Let me go crawl under my rock. But she never really says anything about it. And he has to say it. He's like, yeah, did you get my message? It was really heartfelt. And she said, yes, it was. And we need to talk about it. I mean, I don't know if she's not in the mood to talk about it right now. And then she's like, I feel really, really sick from the other night. So I think I'm just going to sit the rest of the day out, but I'll come with you guys tomorrow. You're not really, really sick. You live there. Don't act like you got sick from the food. I'm not saying that natives can't get sick from the food, but also they were at such a nice restaurant and I feel like they didn't even eat anything strange. I don't know. I think that stomach ache was such bullshit. She's like, I never drink. So that espresso martini, I'm just so sick. It's you had one that we saw. You had a little champagne in the room. You're lying. She's just lying. I know she is. And it's everyone else knows she's lying, but Shep. But actually, side note, 2 days ago, she actually posted a video on TikTok. So remember when Whitney was saying, oh, she reached out to me on Raya first? No, 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 no. She came with the receipts. He direct requested her and then sent her a message, and it said, hi, how's it going? And then she said, good, how are you? And then that was the extent of that. And she said when she went to Charleston to visit Shep and then actually met Whitney in person, she didn't even know that was him because his picture was so misleading on Raya. Are we all dead? It's probably like a picture from 20 years ago. And then when she saw him like in person at the party, I think that was like Taylor's party, right? She's probably like, dude looks like a lady. Who the heck are you? Like, I am just at a loss for words. Sometimes I don't know why these people lie on TV, because people are going to come out and bring the receipts. So Whitney totally, totally made that all up. He said she requested him and was like talking to her like immensely and hitting on him. Mm-mm-mm-mm. I love that she called it out. Maybe she is meant for reality TV. She's just not meant to be with Shep, because that's why I just don't really understand why she's wasting time with him unless she would want to be on TV. But like I said, she's like hiding from the camera basically at this point. But Shep, Taylor, Ryan, and Molly go snorkeling, and everyone else goes to the fish fry place that she was supposed to do with them. But she's saying she's sick. What if she would have just shown up? Because she knows that Shep isn't there. It's like the other group. That would have been funny. And then, so Craig lived in the Bahamas for a little period of time, and he's acting like he knows everything. And like, I could tell Austen is like doing that. He's not rolling his eyes. He's really not making any like specific faces, but I feel like Craig can like feel the vibe. And so they order chicken in a bag, which is probably really good because it's like, you know, on Thanksgiving when you make the turkey, you're supposed to put it in a bag to keep it like moist and keep all the juice and stuff in. And that's, you know, how you should cook the turkey. So I bet doing the chicken like this is very tasty. And Craig's like, yeah, on Mondays we do the chicken in a bag. And then people were like, because some of them were like, what's chicken in a bag? He's like, oh yeah, I came here every Monday and got it. I used to live here. Now I garden in the backyard. And that's why me and Paige call each other chicken, bag chicken. I don't like a know-it-all. I love that Craig has pulled himself together. I definitely enjoy his personality way more now than before. But the know-it-all like stuff, like just say, I don't know. It's not really like what he's saying or the topic, because it's like he did live there. So it's like cool. And I would like you to talk about it in here. But it's just the like, yeah, I know about bag chicken and you don't kind of vibe I'm getting a little bit. But Vanita said JT did land. And Madison said maybe they gave him his wings on the plane. Like when you're a little kid and it's your first flight and you get that little pin. Like our daughters got it when we went to Florida 2 years ago on our first flight with them. But that was really funny. I can't wait for him to come on this trip and everyone just like throw him to the wolves or the piranhas in this case, perhaps. I mean, we're getting Shep embarrassed, and then we're going to get JT like just annihilated by this group because like no one's friends with him. Madison kind of said that on the beach, like, oh, I don't even know why he wants to come. No one's friends with him. Meaning like, okay, why do you even want to be on the show? Like none of us like you. And I don't like when we do that. Like as time goes on, people leave or they do get fired. And they put randos in. It's like never like friends anymore. And I don't want Southern Charm to get away from that because these people really are friends. Summerhouse is like that as well. And it's bad enough we got Lindsay and Carl split up, but maybe they'll kind of be like ish friends. But it's like those new people we got, it's like you're not anyone's friend. And then even like Jesse and West, it's like Kyle and Carl are friends with you, but like none of the girls are friends with you because of what you did to Ciara. So it's just like I never want to get away from the friend dynamic that these people are actually wanting to spend time with each other, not like, oh, JT's just here because he has to be, but none of us like him. But Craig and Madison walk away and talk on the beach for a little, and he just says, yeah, you know, Austen hates me. I really wish he didn't hate me. And she's like, he doesn't hate you. Like, you guys are like brothers. And he's like, no, he hates me. I can tell, like, when I'm talking, like, just his face. So then they show the flashbacks of when he's like talking about the bagged chicken and kind of being a know it all. And I think it's just because Austen's like getting that vibe. Like, Craig needs to remember, he literally asked Austen if he could buy him out of their podcast. And it was a low ball offer anyway, but it was something they did together. And then he's like, you guys all need to support my life, or like, don't be my friend. Don't come over. He's very like woman-esque drama. That's why I always say Craig could be on the Real Housewives of Charleston if there was one. Because I don't know if that's just like him or that's a little bit of Paige influence with him. But he's just, I don't know, not like a roll it off my shoulder type thing. And as we remember, he's the one having like the meltdown about the room situation, which I feel like Austen talked about that. I don't remember which part of the show that was or if that was on the after show. He's like, Craig is not calm and collected because look at him flipping out about the rooms. That may have been on the after show. But I mean, true. I think they're going to patch it all up because I think the next episode is when they're going to have their heartfelt talk on the beach. And then we're going to get JT at that dinner. And I think they're going to get into it about if he called Miss Patricia a bitch or not. I'm assuming Whitney's going to be at that dinner, so it's going to be interesting to hear him weigh in. And I just can't wait to wrap it all up with the Cienna garbage with Shep, because it's just like, Shep, I don't even think she needs to embarrass you anymore on camera. I just can't believe like what had happened. He said when they first met, they were like wildly, passionately, like in love with each other. And now she's like this. And he's like, I need to win her back. It's like, I'd like to know if you were ever at that first stage, like if she really did actually ever like you, because then, yeah, maybe win her back. It's like when people do break up, but like when one person's really sad, they will probably do a little bit of like, oh, I want to win you back. But if she was like this the whole entire time, there's no winning back because you never had her. It's just very fascinating. She needs to go on somebody's podcast, or she needs to do like an Us Weekly spread. She needs to do something because we need more answers, because I already like her calling Whitney out. So let's get more info on her and Shep. But just to just to dive into a little Bravo tea. I was like tongue twisted after that whole rant about Southern Charm. Let me get a little water and then I'll talk. All right, we got the Real Housewives of New Jersey. We got some announcements. So Bravo has retained Dolores Catania, Teresa Giudice, and Melissa Gorga. So that does not mean that they're cast on the Real Housewives of New Jersey necessarily or getting spinoffs. It's just Bravo has retained them to work with them on something. So that may be the Real Housewives of New Jersey or something else. My hope and prediction is that Dolores and Melissa will be on the Real Housewives of New Jersey and Teresa will get a spinoff. For those who like Melissa, they'll still see her. But then for those who like Teresa, they'll still see her. And you know what? We'll actually see her in a more happy, positive light. Because I do like Teresa when she's happy. Like those old episodes, she's so funny and interacting with the daughters. And she's like still like that. Like Melania is at college, but she comes back so much. And Gabriella is at college. She doesn't come back as much because she's in Michigan. But Adriana and Gia live there. So we'll get like still the Teresa being a mom thing, which I like. We're going to have to put up with creepy Louie a little bit. But like, I bet we'll get Kim D if there's a spinoff. We know one person we're not seeing at all on Bravo because they weren't even named as being rejected, which was pretty crazy. But I think it's because we can all put two and two together that she's totally out. She's just canceled, period. Jennifer Aiden, because after her Jersey Mike's little fiasco, I don't even know why she would do that. I mean, maybe she felt like that, and that's fine, I suppose, if you're really feeling like that. But for her to videotape it and post it and thinking everyone else will feel like that and agree with her is very alarming, that she thinks people are going to watch that and be like, oh my God, you're so cool. I love you. It's like, no, you're actually a huge asshole. And now we don't like you. Like she just like shot herself in the foot. Because what I think would have happened, she couldn't come back with like a Danielle if Danielle was coming back. But she could have definitely been on Teresa's spinoff. But now she is blacklisted, so she won't be on anything. So it's said that they did not retain Marge, Rachel, or Danielle. And I'm a little surprised because I really do believe that their intention is to give Teresa her own show. So I am surprised they didn't just keep everybody and put Teresa on her own show. Seriously. Because those are Melissa and Dolores's friends. Dolores is friends with all those people too. Very much like we see, especially Melissa and Rachel Fuda, they definitely are friends. And Marge too. Danielle, not so much. So maybe get rid of Danielle. But I was pretty shocked to see that Margaret and Rachel weren't getting a renewal. It said Rachel was very close, but you know who screwed it up for her? Her husband, John Fuda. It said behind the scenes, he was very difficult to work with. And I don't know if it's just he was annoying or the whole Louis stuff, but Louis started it with him. So that's not very fair. Like Louis and Teresa are the ones that dug up all that stuff about his baby mama and him getting arrested, used to sell drugs. So why would you think he's not going to attack them back? But I thought that was very interesting. If I was Rachel, I'd be pissed. But maybe she doesn't care. Maybe she doesn't want to be on the show anymore because she just had a baby. So that's my other Bravo tea. Her and John Fuda welcomed their baby boy, Lorenzo Antonio Fuda. So seeing the middle name Antonio, I immediately thought of Antonia. And I was like, that's interesting. And then Lorenzo made me think of Snooki and Gianni's son, Lorenzo. So I was like, okay, we're just getting two already TV children's names and putting them on there. But maybe she doesn't care. She's not going to be on a show because she's got the baby. And who's to say, like, if what is on Melissa's plate is going to be the Real Housewives of New Jersey? I really don't think they'll give Melissa a spinoff and keep Teresa and Dolores on the Real Housewives. Like, I really think the spinoff would be Teresa. But I bet Rachel would have like lunch with Melissa and Dolores or like make an appearance. And maybe even Marge. But I really was a little surprised. So we know we will see the three of them on our screen. We don't know at what capacity yet because Andy Cohen's keeping his lips real tight. And I was listening to him on Jeff Lewis. He didn't say a word about this news. Jeff Lewis didn't even ask him. So technically it hasn't come out of Andy Cohen's mouth, but US Weekly posted this. And it was on Reality Blurb, and it was on a lot. I mean, the US Weekly, I always believe it. Sometimes Reality Blurb can be a little meh, but it's all over. And I said this a long time ago on the podcast. I don't remember which episode, but I'm going to have to rewind it and find it because I said I thought I was half right that they'll give Teresa a spinoff and then keep everyone else on Housewives. So there's no way they're going to keep Melissa and Teresa on the same show because that would be, and get rid of everyone else. It's like, well, who would you bring on? All of Teresa's friends so then they can like murder Melissa. It's like Melissa might as well not come back. But Teresa has refused to ever film with Melissa. Melissa never spoke up and said that because I think she didn't want to, be too aggressive and pushy, and she didn't want to push her opportunity away to be on the show. But Teresa has said she would never film with Joe and Melissa. So we'll see what happens. But that is my prediction, and you heard it from me. So if that's what happens, maybe I should start playing the lottery. But I hope everyone enjoyed all the recaps. We got a lot covered. I'm really, really liking all the shows we have on. I love that they're like 3 days in a row. Love that. They are going to be filming the Summerhouse reunion soon, I think. They already filmed Southern Charm. Oh, no, it was the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills they're going to be filming. That's what it was. So that's going to be interesting. And as always, you can find me on Instagram, Bravo T with a stay-at-home mom. I'm on TikTok. I'm on YouTube. And I hope everyone has a good rest of their day.